Here we have a full book review of Lewis Carroll's Through the Looking Glass. Now let us get started with right now. This is the widely acclaimed, if not as widely acclaimed, sequel to Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Unfortunately, as most sequels go, it never really does get to the acclaim it does of its predecessor, aka the original book that kickstarted it all. Like, certain series of books themselves have gotten their kickstarts and then kept that peakness over and over all the way to the end, like say Hunger Games, the Giver series, and the Dune series. At least the original 6 books. The last few books that the last sequel books, the sequel series that his son wrote was terrible. But it's still a sequel. A sequel is still a sequel. You get to find out what's official. So today I'm going to go ahead and talk about Lewis Carroll going ahead and talking through the Looking Glass. And I'm going to tell you my thoughts and my thoughts and my thoughts and my series about Alice and her experiences in this chessboard-like world. So let's get started with. First of all, remember that this is Victorian England. Chess is like all the rage here, and if you weren't a chess player, you probably weren't exactly considered one of the best people in the entire world, or at least in Victorian society. Lewis Carroll goes ahead and turns this into a wordplay and spins it into his own thoughts. Like, for example, the addition kinds of stuff that the Red Queen and the White King Queen go ahead and try to get Alice to do is like what's 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, and then Alice goes ahead and says, I don't know, I lost count. And then the Red Queen, or was it the White Queen, goes ahead and says she can't do arithmetic. She can't even add 1 to 1 plus 1 plus 1 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. She can't do that. How can you say you can do arithmetic? Because can you do arithmetic? And of course that goes ahead and threatens them, and they're all like, I can do arithmetic if you give me some paper, but like I can't do subtraction whatsoever. Also, I can't do division. So yeah, I'm so better than you. Ha ha ha. Now, obviously, Alice goes ahead and gets very annoyed by all this. And that's the whole point that I want to really talk about. Alice goes ahead and gets herself into these Wonderland kind of worlds. And obviously, as the first actual somewhat famous female protagonist in any of the children's books of the time, she is a very, very central and important, and also a very non-conventional character. Mostly so her non-conformity comes in the fact that she is in a Wonderland, goes ahead and does not abide by the rules of the Wonderland, and does try to get her manners right, albeit that when she gets really, really mad, then like she just discards all manners, and then she like considers her own thoughts and nonsense being like higher than anyone else's other thoughts and nonsense. So here, of course, our Alice is very different from the Alice that we met in like Adventures in Wonderland. In Adventures in Wonderland, we meet an Alice who goes ahead and gets curious and wants to find out everything about the world. Here we get a little slightly, if not exactly, a slightly more mature version of Alice, who is thinking about things, is bored out of her wits, and instead of like deciding to go ahead and get through a rabbit hole and stay curious and do random stuff that she has no idea what will happen, she goes ahead and does stuff that she is certain of happening, or she is told that she should do to do certain thing. For example, when she goes ahead and gets into the garden, she goes ahead and wishes that she could speak to the flowers, and then that wish goes ahead and comes true. She doesn't immediately just try to speak to flowers, she wishes for it too. And then when she goes ahead and states that she wants to be a queen, she goes ahead and doesn't try to find out what it is. She is told how it is, and then she goes and proceeds to do those instructions specifically. And it is those instructions that gets her to the A square and gets her crowned as a queen. Now, obviously, she cannot deal with nonsense at all. In fact, she hates that nonsense. She goes ahead and figures that everything in this kind of world goes ahead and figures out that, hey, you're speaking nonsense. Nobody can go ahead and say, what's 1 plus 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 1? Like, if you probably slow it down and count it down, then you could probably do it. But, like, unfortunately, people who are just listening to me right now at normal speed without any idea or being told about what they're going to be adding together, that's going to be a very big problem for them, too. I don't even know how many ones I said when I said 1 plus 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 1. So it's just this kind of wordplay. It also goes ahead and tells us how the words and languages can be used in different contexts, and how, like, if you just change a word or an order of a word, then you get entirely different definition. This is something similar to what we got in the Adventures in Wonderland, except albeit in Adventures in Wonderland it's a bit more obvious in the sense that we go ahead and are literally told, like, I see what I eat is the same as I eat what I see. I eat what I see is the same as I see what I eat. That kind of thing. And they're obviously not the same. But it is one of the few things that goes ahead and happens here. And it is here that we get all the dream ideas. Now, at the end of the book, we are went ahead and asked to consider whether Alice was the one who was dreaming or was the Red King. Now, the rules were like this. Like, if you remembered in the story, there was the Red King. Alice was went ahead and met the Red King fast asleep, and then the Red King was also sleeping and dreaming. And so Tweedledee and Tweedledum goes ahead and tells Alice that whether it was the Red King dreaming or whether it was her dreaming, that if either one woke, the other would go ahead and disappear from existence for pretty much the rest of their lives. Or so they said. So, in a way, I think, though, in my opinion, Alice was the one who was dreaming, and Alice was the one who woke up and made the Red King an imaginary figure. If it was the Red King who woke up, I would have probably said that it was Alice who was like not part of the story anymore, or unless she was still part of the story, then I would still be very, very worried about it. And it was this wordplay about things and about dreams and about logic and things that Lewis Carroll really loved logic, and untangling all of this logic, do we get any kind of special perception, any kind of extra dimensional going ahead and seeing that kind of stuff. Dreams are very powerful things, mostly because we can experience stuff in dreams that we cannot really experience in real life. Whether or not we will actually be able to do, say, building up all your muscles in like several months, just like as you predicted in your dreams, that's up to you. Whether you do it or not, that's entirely up to you. But how you do it, that's very, very entirely up to you. So, in conclusion, my full book review for the Alice Through the Looking Glass is that it's a great sequel towards the family acclaimed Adventures in Wonderland, but it's kind of lacking when it comes to Adventures in Wonderland. Maybe it's because Adventures in Wonderland is like overshadowing it, but it works. It still works as a sunny place sometimes. And then when you go ahead and look at the Looking Glass and you look through the mirror, you go ahead and see several ideas. Now, turning into a queen, it probably was one of those ideas ever, but like moving a queen towards another place, that's an entirely different thing. Whereas in Adventures in Wonderland, it was a bunch of playing cards. Now it's the chess pieces, and those chess pieces have certain rules against them. So why should you read Alice Through the Looking Glass? Mostly because it is the perfect sequel towards an already perfect children's story. It's another novel where we somewhat become adolescents, albeit the child herself is 8 years old, and then Alice goes ahead and starts having any kind of contraptions and that kind of stuff. So in the end, the Alice we meet here is in short, a more mature, more learned, and more educated version of the Alice we have met in Adventures in Wonderland. Whereas the one in Wonderland would go ahead and do stuff at will and just by out of whim, here our Alice has to have a reason. She has to go ahead and have a cause to go ahead and get curious. And maybe that's a good thing. Curiosity kills the cat, they say. If you're just curious about something and not something particular, you'll probably not go ahead and do something about it. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Hunter and Shun. I hope to see you guys soon. Until next time, Shihana, peace. Bye-bye.